Hi, today I'll be doing static routing. In static routing, static routes are configured in advance for network communication. Because of static routes are pre-configured, administrator must manually reconfigure routes to make any changes. So before going to lab class, let's learn serial link or serial port. Serial port is actually a serial communication interface through which information transfer in or out sequentially one bit at a time. And you can use fast Ethernet or gig interface to make a communication, to make a connection between a routers. But mostly we prefer to use serial link between multiple routers to propagate config data, which means serial ports are used for easy configuration and diagnosis and emergency maintenance access. That's the reason we use serial port to make connection between the router. So if we use serial port, then we need to set clock rate, because by default no clock rate is configured for any serial port devices. So we need to configure clock rate if you are planning to use a serial port to connect the routers. Clock rate means setting the speed of the interface. It's also known as bandwidth. You can see 64000 bits equal to 64 kilobits. And you might be thinking where you need to set the clock rate. So you can set clock rate in the DC side of the cable, where you can set the clock rate. So now let's go to the lab. Here I am in my Cisco packet tracer. Let me take 3 router and then 2 switch and then 2 PC. I'm gonna take 2621 series router. I have fast forwarded my video and I'm going to connect these devices straight through cable. Let me connect fast Ethernet 0/0 with fast Ethernet 0/1 and then fast Ethernet 0/2 with fast Ethernet 0 and then fast Ethernet 0/3 with fast Ethernet 0. So I'm gonna fast forward my video again. Once you finish connecting PC and switch, now it's time to connect router to router, and as you know, I want to connect router to router with serial interface. So let's go and add some serial port to the router. You can double click to the router and then turn off the router and then add some serial ports. So here you can find serial port, which is WIC2T. You can grab it, you can drag it, and then you can turn it on and then close it. So in this way you can go to your router first and router second and then add the serial port. Now let's grab the DC cable to connect the router. So once you finish connecting all these devices, you can set the IP address. So you can see these are the IP I'm gonna assign to the PC: 172.168.0.15 to PC0, 172.168.0.22 PC1, this IP to PC2, this IP to PC3, and then this IP to router fast Ethernet 0/0, this IP tender 0.0.1 to serial 0/0, and this tender 0.0.2 to serial 0. So let's go to PC. You can go to PC and then desktop and then IP. Then here is static. You can assign the IP which I already have assigned. You can see 172.168.0.15, and then this is the subnet mask and this is the default gateway. So in this way you can assign IP to all the PC. So now let's go to the router and assign IP to the fast Ethernet. So it's say, would you like to enter the initial configuration? No. And then privilege mode, config mode. If you want to change your host name, you can change by just typing host name R1. I'm not going to change host name, so I'm going to enter in my interface fast Ethernet 0/0, And now I'm gonna assign IP, which is 172.168.0.1, and then subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. Now I'm gonna write no shutdown. This is how you turn on the port. And let me do exit, and then again let me go to my serial port, which is just 0/0, and then you have to assign the clock rate in the DC side of the cable. Clock rate is 64. I'm gonna assign 64000, and then IP address I'm gonna assign 10.0.0.1, and subnet mask is 255.0.0.0. So now no shutdown to turn on the port. So this is how you assign IP to the both interface, fast Ethernet 0/0 and serial port 0/0. Now let's go and configure router 1. Now enable config. So let's go to serial port 0/0 and then assign IP, which is I guess 10.0.0.2, and then subnet mask 255.0.0.0, and then no shutdown to turn on the port. Okay, let me exit from this serial port and then enter to another serial port, which is yes 0/1. Now, so here you need to apply the clock rate as well, because this is the DC side of the cable. So you need to write CLOCK clock rate 64000, and then assign IP address 11.0.0.1, subnet mask 255.0.0.0, and then no shutdown. Okay, so this is how you turn on the port and assign IP to the serial port. Let me close this and let's go to router 2nd. Now enable config, and now let's assign IP to the fast Ethernet first. Fast Ethernet 0/0, fast Ethernet 0/0. Then assign IP, which is 192.168.0.1, 255.255.255.0, and then no shutdown. Let me exit and then enter to the serial port SE 0/1, and then assign IP 11.0.0.2, subnet mask 255.0.0.0, and then no shutdown. So this is how we configure 3 router. Now let's go to router 0 and configure the IP route. Double click on that and then CLI command, enable mode, and then config, and then let me show you interface. Do show IP interface brief. So you can see fast Ethernet 0/0 IP assign is this, and then the port is up, manually up, and then serial 0/0 is also up with IP 10.0.0.1. Now let's go and create the IP route. So here you have to find possible route. You can see there is 2 route from serial port 0/0 to serial port 0/1 and serial port 0/1 to fast Ethernet 0/0. So we need to create the two IP route. Okay, now you need to create two route, IP route 11.0.0.0 and then subnet mask 255.0.0.0 and then it is connected with 10.0.0.2 and next IP route is 192.168.0.0 class C IP network and then subnet mask 255.255.255.0 which is connected with 11.0.0.2. So this is how you configure the IP route. Now let's go to second router. Now I'm in my second router, enable, config, and then IP route to configure the route. And we have two possible route. You can see this class B IP is connected with the serial port 10.0.0.1 and here another route. So let's create IP route 172.168.0.0 255.255.0.0 connected with 10.0.0.1. This is one IP route and another route is 192.168.0.0 255.255.255.0 and then which is connected with 11.0.0.2. Now let's go to third router which is here and then enable, config mode and then create IP route. From this router you can see two possible route, serial port 0/0, serial port 0/1 and then fast Ethernet 0/0 to serial port 0/0. Now let me create a route 172.168.0.0 255.255.0.0 is connected with the 10.0.0.1 and another IP route is 10.0.0.0 255.2.0.0.0 11.0.0.1. So now all the configuration is done now. If you want to check IP route, you just need to go to config mode and then type do show IP route. Now you can see IP route here. 10.network is connected via 11 and then 11.0.0 is directly connected with serial port 0/1 and then 172.168.0 connected via 10.0.0.1 and 192.168 class network is directly connected with the fast Ethernet 0/0. Let me close this now. Now let me send packet from PC0 to PC2. You can see the status is successful. So this is how you configure IP route in static routing protocol. So thanks for watching.